Hi everybody, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Anna Marie and this is my rebirth story. So I'll start with the religion I had growing up. So growing up, my family, we were Catholic. We didn't go to church every Sunday or anything like that. I mean, we did celebrate the holidays. We weren't like very religious, like from what I could remember. It's not like my family was like very practicing, in a sense, but by name we were Catholics. And growing up, I went to church off and on Sunday with my mom, and that's pretty much it. Like, I never really went to Sunday school or really studied about Christianity and being Catholic, because Catholic is a sect in Christianity. And I never really understood some of the things, and the concept in Christianity with what threw me off the most with religion was what Christianity is their belief in Jesus Christ and God. And don't quote me on it because it still confuses me to this day, is they believe Jesus is God in a sense. And that always kind of threw me off. Like, it never exactly made sense to me, like the stories of the within the Bibles and stuff like that I would hear. It just always confused me, and sadly, with a couple of the people I talked to when I was younger about it, they couldn't give me a good answer, and that some of them couldn't answer at all, I think because I was so young. But going forward, my family still remained Catholic for a while. I started to become agnostic, and that was by the time I got into middle school. So 7th and 8th grade, I kind of just ditched the whole religion concept. I was never a very religious person to begin with, so it wasn't like a major transition or anything. It was just like, okay, well, I don't believe in anything. I believe there could be something out there, just that we're not 100% sure. But also, it doesn't necessarily mean like there's a guy in the sky or Jesus or God or something like that. So for a couple years I went under that thinking, and I kind of think everybody kind of somewhat moves into that kind of phase once they start growing up in the middle school and high school. But once I got into high school, I was full-on atheist. I didn't believe in God at all. I was very influenced by certain friends I had and things I'd watch on the internet. It was just like, nope, religion's not for me. Makes no sense. Because I had a lot of bad things happen to me growing up. So that was one of the big things that pushed religion out of my life, was like, why would these things happen to me? And not just me, with other problems in the world as well. Why would all these bad things happen if God exists? That's what was always on my mind. Why did I have to face these problems if someone up there is so loving and cares about us? Why did me and a bunch of other people out in this world have to go through the struggles and troubles that we've been through? So I was atheist for about 2 years as atheist. But also, what came with high school was friends of many different cultures, religions. I mean, it was a good thing. Like, I got along with everybody. Like, even those who were religious, I never had problems with people, unless it came to family, of course. Now, this is what really triggered me into learning about other religions. A couple of friends came into my life, very important people, who are now very important people in my life, were introduced into my life, and some were Hindu, some were Sikh. Forgive me if I pronounce that wrong, S-I-K-H. Some were Jehovah's Witnesses, and then Muslims came into my life. And kind of sidetrack, my first Muslim friend I ever had, who is still in my life, very important person to this day, I was terrified of him. I was so scared of this person, and I didn't know what to think. I straight up asked this person, oh my gosh, and I feel so rude about this. I was young and dumb, okay? I was so scared, and growing up in a household where, my family weren't like, I don't know, racist sounds horrible, 'cause they're definitely not anymore, but they were scared too, because they were easily influenced by what we hear on the news, in the media, and everything. So, I didn't really know anybody, and that was of different religions and stuff like that. So I straight up asked this person, because I see it on their Facebook, it says they believe in Allah. I was like, like, are you gonna attack me? Like, I know I feel so bad to this day. Like, I just had this horrible idea in my head of what Muslims were. And then, we started to talk more, we got along well, and I made other Muslim friends from all over the world. Like, subhanAllah, it's amazing how many friends I have, like, throughout this world, and then, like, Facebook, you could think to that, it made the world a smaller place. Don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I started making friends of all different religions, not just in school, but on the internet as well. And then, okay, so what really ticked me off into studying other religions was my aunt. My one aunt was, I guess she just went by a Christian. It's not like she was like Lutheran, Catholic, Baptist or anything. She just said she was Christian. And she's a great aunt, don't get me wrong, we kind of lost contact, but she would, argue and like put other religions down, and yes, I didn't have a religion, but unless you consider atheism a religion, but I like would tell her, like, you got it wrong. Like, I have Muslim friends, they don't act like that. Of course the topic was Muslims or Islam, and I'm like, I have friends of that religion, they're not like this at all. I'm like, don't you even know? Did you know that they actually believe in Jesus like you do? And so that's what really ticked me off, is like, I enjoyed that conversation with her about religion. Even though it was a heated one, I enjoyed it. So I began to want to learn more myself, because I didn't know a lot, and I don't know why, I just wanted to learn. Religion is so fascinating, and it still is to me. So what I did was, I didn't make this list up or anything, it just happened like that. So first I started off with Christianity. I went to like some Christian friends and just asked them some questions I didn't understand. I got some answers, told them to let me know anything they feel I should know, as someone who doesn't know much about Christianity and doesn't claim to be a Christian anymore. And, so I went to the source because, sometimes when you Google something or just look on the internet, you can't really get the right answers, or you get, like, it could be someone making stuff up, or it could be in a different sect in that religion, so I try to always go to the source. So I started with Christianity, cleared some things up for me, which was very nice, but, still didn't want to convert. I was so happy being an atheist, and then I started to learn a little bit about Hinduism. I learned about Sikh, again, forgive me if I pronounce that wrong. Learned a little bit about Jehovah's Witnesses, a little bit about Wicca. I don't know if you consider that a religion. That was interesting and fun to learn about. But anyways, I kept moving forward, learned a little bit about Judaism. Then lastly, I was contacting my Muslim friends. I'm like, okay, so explain to me about Islam, the basics, and like I asked them questions like, is it true this or that, this and that, the media says this, and luckily I had some great friends who were explaining things to me, and I told them, like, don't try to convert me. Do not try to convert me, because that's not my goal at the end of the day, And so, yeah, I started to learn about Islam, and, I spent more time learning about Islam than I did the other religions I was, like, looking into. And, I started hanging out with more of my Muslim friends, talking to them more, and I noticed, not just from asking them, and I'm not saying everyone else in the world isn't nice, but I just seem to fit in with the cliques of the Muslims a lot more, because what I thought was ironic at the time was a lot of my personal beliefs, even as an atheist, were kind of the same with Islam. Like, just about, not just with, the concept of God, but just like the lifestyle, the life, like no alcohol, nothing harming your body, and just the way you're supposed to treat people and treat animals and treat nature. Like, those were some ways I was already enjoying life, and what I thought, is good, is how it should be. So yeah, I just started learning more, and then, I just caught myself defending Islam more, and like saying a lot of things, like, as Muslims we say Bismillah, Inshallah, mashallah. Even like it started off with me saying assalamu alaikum to like my friend, just because it's cool. Like, yeah, I know these new words, but it just Islam took my heart, I guess you could say. It was, I'm meant to be Muslim, like I just felt it, like this is for me. This is why I had to study these religions, and why Islam was the last one I studied. Like it made so much sense. And the thing with Islam, like I said in the beginning, where Christianity kind of confused me, there was things I didn't understand. It seems like with Islam, it like put the pieces together, the things I didn't understand. Because I don't know if you know this, but like Islam is a continuation of Christianity and Judaism. Just there's still differences, but we have pretty much, it's at the end of the day, it's the same people, the same prophets we have in Islam that are in the Bible, except they're not all of them are considered prophets. And even with in the Torah in Judaism, we all came from Adam. We're all religion of Ibrahim. So I wanted to become Muslim from there. And first I just want to say sorry, I know this might not be the most exciting story, it might be kind of weird or boring, but anyways, so the one night, it was during Ramadan too, and it was July 24th, 2012. I was texting my friend who I went to school with, who was Muslim, and I told her, I'm ready. I want to be Muslim. I want to go to the mosque tonight. I want to do what I gotta do, and I knew like I had to say Shahada. I actually have said it before, but not in front of anybody. Like I would say it in my room alone, but so I got ready, got dressed. Her and her mother came and picked me up. My family had no idea. They had no idea where I was going. And I felt bad for not telling them, but I knew that the result of me telling them would not be positive at the time. So I think I said I was going to dinner or something with my friend. So we went to the mosque, and that was my first time there. And it's a lovely mosque. Everybody was so nice. It was my first time wearing hijab. And I mean, first off, walking in, especially during the Ramadan, because the mosque is packed during Ramadan, and walking in, all these women coming up, kissing me, assalamu alaikum, and they kiss you on each side of your face. Like, it could go anywhere from 1 to 3 times on each side, and you never know. Each one does it differently. Not a bad thing. It's just funny, especially coming into being the first time there. It's like, whoa, okay, nice to meet you. But so we had, since everybody was fasting, we had iftar dinner. There was like a potluck going on. It was very nice. And I remember just sitting there, I was telling everybody my story and how like I started to learn about Islam and everything like that. And one of my friends from school, we didn't talk too much, but like I knew of her. Her father was the sheikh. And oh gosh, I just remember everybody's like done eating. I'm just sitting there kind of alone at the moment and just like pondering like, oh, this was so nice, what's going on next. And in comes my friend, and she just starts shouting, Baba's awake, Baba's awake. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what does this mean now? She's like, come on, time to take Shahada. And I'm like my stomach, like I just froze. Like my stomach was in my throat. Like I was just so like nervous. So, I'm like almost leading the way, and everybody's following, and we're going to the sisters' corner of the mosque, which was upstairs. And I just remember getting up there, the sheikh is already there and everything, and oh goodness, I just remember walking into that room, and there were sisters all over behind me, like everywhere, and or ladies, some of us referred to them as sisters, forgive me. And so, I went and met the sheikh, and I told him I'm ready, I want to take Shahada, and then I had to repeat after him. He said it in Arabic first, I repeated after him, then he said it in English, and then I repeated again. And I just remember, like, okay, this might sound weird, okay, this is just how I felt. I just remember feeling like, I just felt this was right, this is where I'm supposed to be at this moment. Like, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. I just felt like I was getting cleaned. I felt I was starting so fresh, so new. Like I was a new person, reinventing myself. I just felt so good. And once I finished saying Shahada, I turned around and all the sisters, all the ladies, forgive me, they're all in a line, they're all lined up, and I just remember I just start like bawling my eyes out, and they're all lined up giving me hugs and kisses like one after another. They're coming up and walking around exchanging phone numbers, and I just remember I felt so amazing that day. It was just so amazing. It was so nice, and I like didn't want it to end. And it's like you could never recreate that feeling that you feel when you do something like that. And because I actually had to take Shahada a second time to get my certificate stating I'm a Muslim. And but yeah, that first time is absolutely amazing. And you know, that's almost 5 years ago. This July it'll be 5 years since I took Shahada. And you know, ever since then my life has went from not negative, but it's changed drastically, and it became so much better. You know, I do struggle with, you know, really bad anxiety and PTSD, but my life has gotten so much better even with the bad days. I am just, you know, a better person, a better me and everything, and I do thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that. You know, alhamdulillah, I'm so appreciative towards that.